You are now listening to SWYM, the podcast. Peace, y'all. I'm your host, Anica Simone, and this is episode 4, Don't Get It Twisted. It's been a while, but it ain't been for nothing. I've been busy behind the scenes preparing to deliver this message from a place of authenticity, hence the use of my appellation. Today we're going to be talking about spirituality. As a tarot reader, this is something that I get a lot of questions about, from self-love to shadow work. Most of my clients only know me from social media and grow curious based on my energy and the content that I share. And that's exactly why I wanted to speak on spirituality before moving on to other topics. There's so much information out there, true and false, that many people have a preconceived notion of what being spiritual entails. Passing judgment is inevitable, but I want anyone who listens to my content to understand my viewpoints moving forward. So while I know that everyone's spiritual journey is unique, there are a few things that could be addressed here at once. Before we get into it, let's talk about what spirituality is. By definition, spirituality is the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. With that being said, even though spirituality may be trending, it's nothing new. It just simply exists. They're waiting for you to tap into it. When having these types of conversations, the questions I get asked are you religious? Do you believe in God? And how did you know you were awakening? To answer, I like to say no. I don't have a religious preference. I was brought up Christian, but didn't attend church often. I do believe in God, but just not in a way that everyone will resonate. I feel that God is a collective consciousness that serves as an energetic source to which all other energies have been and will be created. I don't believe God is a man or woman who sits high and looks low. However, I do believe that this higher source harnesses both feminine and masculine energies in itself just as we do. This is why it's important for our own masculine and feminine energies to be balanced. If we aren't harmonious within, there'll be chaos on the outside. Remember, the outside is only a reflection of the inside. We as the collective energy on this planet are what determines our overall peace. And right now, we have to continue to vibrate higher. But how do we do that, right? We got to get back to truth, our inner knowing. We got to get back to inner union. We got to get back to love, y'all. This quest to consciously increase your insight about life by exploring the light and shadow side of self is often referred to as a spiritual journey. Once you resonate with the idea that we're all multidimensional spirit beings having a human experience, you will understand that you have always been on a spiritual journey. It's just a matter of when you become conscious of it. This awareness is usually referred to as a spiritual awakening. Events such as near-death experience or major life epiphanies are usually the catalyst for the initial awakening. Just like the ones to follow, this will make you question your existence and your connection to everything around you. So what's the hype around being spiritual, right? Well, it's lit, as in enlightening. Who doesn't want to be enlightened to their higher self? I'll tell you who. People who are afraid of their potential. But baby, once that fear subsides and you answer that calling, your life will change forever. That's if you allow it. You can ignore the calling, but Source only going to call you louder until you wake up. From the outside in, one may think of a spiritual awakening as a newfound awareness that makes you want to spread light and love all day, accompanied by synchronicities, toting crystals, and burning sage. While that's partly true and nice for aesthetics, it's much deeper than that. Crystals, sage, and awareness of synchronicities are mere tools to assist you on your journey. Spiritual awakenings can feel like your world is tumbling down and being built up in the same moment. Most likely, everything attached to you will drive you nuts if it's not in alignment with your purpose. You'll lose friends, family, and maybe even jobs that are connected to the old version of you. If you're one who's transitioning from a structured religion, the freedom that comes along with tapping into your spirituality may be overwhelming. Don't be so concerned about how things look from a worldly perspective. There's no right or wrong way to be spiritual. If you want to stop cursing, stop. If you don't. If you want to go vegan, do that. If you don't, again, it's up to you. Those are minor things compared to what your soul will release on your journey. Besides, your body, if not your intuition, will tell you exactly what it is you need to let go of. Your spiritual journey is tailored to you. Keep in mind that there are many ways to help explore your spirituality too, like practicing mindfulness, yoga, divination, and Reiki, as well as studying mathematics, science, and nature. However, I found that the most important part of this journey is awakening to self and your oneness with the universe. That means not only identifying with your positive attributes, but becoming aware of your own shadow side as well. You can do all the light work, moon work, sun work, mirror work, you name it. But the raw truth comes in doing shadow work. It's about duality. That's why I say it's never all love and light over here. because shit can get ugly. This phase of darkness is usually temporary, but it could endure for a long time depending on the inner work that needs to be done. The more intense periods of shadow work are sometimes referred to as the dark night of the soul. Knowing and accepting that what I hate in other people also resides in myself was a really big eye-opener for me in the process. Not because I didn't want to admit it, but because of how true it is. We just project it differently. For example, I used to think I hate liars, but in reality, I would lie too. We all do, or at least have at some point, even if it's just the little lies we tell ourselves to make us feel better. When I got to the root of it, I learned that I was just upset at the fact that I didn't know why they lied, as opposed to me being aware of my own reasons. And another thing I had to learn, forgiveness is necessary with or without an apology. Examine the incident from a logical standpoint, use empathy to gain clarity from a different perspective, acknowledge your emotions, and release the situation by bringing your attention back to the present moment. Whether it's yourself, your spouse, or a loved one that needs to be forgiven, doing this shifts the perspective from victim to survivor, ultimately allowing you to change the narrative. What I'm saying is that being in the light requires you to step into the light. And to fully step into the light requires you to go through an immense amount of reflection, healing, and reconnecting with Source. From that darkness, you'll learn so much about your unhealed wounds, past traumas, inner child issues, and so much more. As you navigate your spiritual journey, keep in mind that ascension happens in cycles much like everything else in life. While exploring these hidden parts of ourselves, we should be applying the knowledge to reach our soul's highest potential as Source intended for us. So when we match that intention, it's like having the next level unlocked. You feel me? It would be naive to compare your journey to someone else's. For me, my initial awakening came in 2013 after having a traumatic experience. I was traveling to work one morning for a toll collectors meeting. I had my visor down to put some lip balm on, and when I looked back up, I was seconds away from rear-ending a tractor trailer. I hit the brakes and swerved, overcorrected, and did about 6 donuts in the middle of Route 13 with traffic coming full speed behind me. It sounds so cliche, but in that moment, my life flashed before my eyes, yo. My SUV made its way to the side of the road before shutting off, and as I looked up, I saw my best friend coming from the opposite direction, letting me know she saw me. She actually saw the whole thing, and we were both amazed at the fact that I had walked away without a scratch. It was in that moment I knew I was divinely protected. It made me question what I did to deserve to live. Like, are you sure I'm being a good enough mother? Am I living in my purpose? Like, who kept me here? These are all the questions that went through my head. I wanted to thank whoever or whatever it was so badly that I began searching for God everywhere. I started reading the Bible from page 1, trying to develop my own understanding of it. I remember specifically sitting in lane 1 at the toll plaza on my overnight shift and thinking like, nah, this ain't adding up. Even my daughter, who was really young at the time, would tell me she was afraid of Jesus and that he wasn't real, and all of this. So at first I would pass it off, but she kept it up. So I went on my own quest to find more information out about the creation of the image of Jesus Christ, which led me to information on the Council of Nicaea, and from there I went down a rabbit hole just to find myself. And I say that because if God is omnipresent, then I am God. I say that with respect to the Most High. If you're offended, I'm not sorry. You'll be bothered by that statement only if you don't recognize the God in you. I've had many spiritual awakenings since then. I've actually been standing right in the middle of one for the past couple of months. If you remember from the last episode, I was telling y'all I was in the process of moving. Well, that was a whole experience. It was a lot of back and forth, and at one point I wasn't sure if I was going to even be able to move. In the months leading up to my move, I was concerned about the wrong things. I had people trying to one-up me, folks trying to half-ass love me, and my finances were being pulled in a million directions. I was in go mode for a minute, focusing on everything tangible and neglecting my spirituality. I had never had so many obstacles come at me at once. I almost lost faith, but I didn't. Instead, I turned my attention inward and realigned with my own spiritual practices. Through meditation, Source revealed that I was in a storm due to lack of discipline. I knew I had been distracted, but see, what had happened was I had gotten so used to things just working out for me that I didn't properly prepare. I didn't have a solid plan or resources, and I was looking for someone to blame, but there was no one but me. On top of that, I was avoiding the clarity that I claimed I needed so badly by not meditating or relying on Source as I should have. So during my hiatus, instead of enjoying the sandy beaches of Mexico as planned, I've been journaling, meditating, and verbally affirming my mission for 2022 and the years to come. I affirm for all of us a greater connection to Source in 2022, a connection so divine that all of your heart's desires may come true. Personally, I'll be allowing myself some time to balance my energy for the first official SWYM Meet, Brunch, and Self Care Retreat that I'll be hosting on April 23rd. This all-women event is a day retreat at a beautiful cabin in Urbana, Virginia. Each participant will receive a chair massage, Reiki session, and tarot reading with myself, along with a group yoga session and other enjoyable activities. I want everyone to show up in whatever condition they're in, physically, mentally, and emotionally, because what better way is there to forge positive female connections than being raw and vulnerable? And fellas, if you're listening, I didn't forget about y'all. In the near future, I'll cross paths with a like-minded male that could host something alongside me for y'all too. I'm claiming that now because we need some healing circles for our men. If there are any men listening right now, especially my melanated men, I want you to know that you are loved, you are honored, and you are very much worthy, King. To the collective, thank you for listening to episode 4 of SWYM the podcast. We'll be getting into self-love and shadow work a little more in depth in the upcoming episodes. In the meantime, feel free to book a tarot reading or a coaching session with me. Any information you will need should be in the description box, or you can head over to groundedessentialsllc.com where you can find every product and service that I offer. If you found the information in this episode helpful, please feel free to leave some feedback. You can find me on Instagram at SWYM the podcast, Facebook at SWYM, that's the @ SWYM, or you can even shoot me an email at swymthepodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, family, peace.